Yeah, that's a good enough intro for me. Listen, if there's one thing I haven't shut up about on the internet for the past couple years, it's that I really love the Club Penguin Secret Agent missions, PSA, EPF, all of them. Seeing the world of Club Penguin from this perspective and being able to talk to the characters and interact with the environment was peak video game immersion for me as a kid. I can confidently say that the missions are by far my favorite Club Penguin thing ever of all time ever. And you know they were good because they made 2 DS games about them. But just because I love the missions in general, that doesn't mean I think all of the missions are good. You've already seen the title, so let's not waste much more time. Today I'll be ranking every single mission across the entire PSA and EPF saga. Few ground rules though, I'm only counting missions that use the first-person point-and-click gameplay format. So that's every mission from the PSA, EPF DS and all of its side missions, and Herbert's Revenge. In-game EPF events like the operations don't count, and this was probably obvious, but I'm not counting any CPI missions either. My ranking of the missions is primarily based on the gameplay, as well as other factors like story, complexity, and how memorable they are. Additionally, I've replayed these missions so many times to the point where I know how to speedrun most of them, so that will also probably affect my ranking a bit. Of course, these are just my opinions, so if you disagree with me, please leave a comment calling me stupid and other mean names. Not that mean though, please. Can I start now? I'm just gonna start. But first, a word from our sponsor, me! I have a Ko-fi now where you can throw money at me and in return I will draw a thing for you. Or you can just leave a tip if you want to support me and my content. You can tip $1 or negative $1. You can steal money from me. It won't work, but you can try. Okay, I'm gonna actually start the video now. Something you may or may not have known is that when the first Elite Penguin Force game released, there was a downloadable mission called A Special Message from Antarctic. Upon starting the mission, Antarctic tells you that there will be more downloadable missions, and that's it. I know this probably shouldn't count, but it's presented in the same way as the actual downloadable mission, and hey, I had to put something at the bottom. What really makes this the worst, though, is that Antarctic just straight up lies to you. She says there will be multiple download missions, plural, to look out for, but there was only ever one. Well, 2, I guess, counting this one, which I guess I am. Did you know? EPF DS has 4 time-exclusive seasonal missions depending on your system's date and time? Well, now you do. And now you also know that the spring mission sucks! You have to collect 16 flowers for Antarctic, but you can only carry 4 items in your inventory at a time, so you have to constantly go back to her to drop off each flower one by one. Sure, you get some coins from it, but you also get coins for clicking on ketchup. I don't think many missions are outright bad, but there sure are a lot of boring ones. Most of these come from EPF DS's side missions since they're obviously not as deep as the main ones. And in my opinion, the most boring one of the bunch is Drifting Away. This guy lost their sailboats and you have to use Flit to go get them. It's really easy, it's really boring, I don't have anything else to say about it. Another side mission, Lost and Confused, tasks us with finding a missing tour guide by playing a game of Snow Trekker. That's it, there's no extra action needed for this mission, it's literally just a single minigame, and you're done. Similar to Lost and Confused, Sweet Friend of Mine's is another side mission that only consists of a single minigame. This penguin is scared of playing the extreme tunnels of Kart Surfer, so you have to get through them yourself to show that they're safe. Again, all you do in this mission is play a minigame, but this time it's a minigame that's actually fun, so it's slightly better. While not quite as bad as spring, the summer seasonal mission still isn't very exciting. You have to go around the island searching for palm trees and use Bouncer to knock down some coconuts. It's still extremely boring, but it's not as tedious as collecting flowers. And at least you're actually exploring the island instead of just playing a minigame. Finally getting to some side missions that are actually decent, Penguin at Work sees us helping a totally unnamed construction worker with a few tasks around the island, most of which involve just tapping on flare and then tapping the thing that's broken. There's nothing really to figure out here, you're just doing what you're told, so I still find it pretty boring. They're getting better though. Finally, our first actual main mission. Despite its name, Left to Your Own Devices hardly ever leaves you to your own devices, as this is the most hand-holdy tutorial mission in the entire game. Even more so than Mission 1. This isn't to say that it's a bad tutorial by any means, it does its job quite well, but it's just easily the least fun to replay, as most of it is just exposition. At least this is where we get the debut of both PH and the director, so you know, that's pretty cool. Shout out to women. One of the first side missions available to you in EPF DS is a wrench in the works, where you have to help the aforementioned construction worker find his missing wrench. He lists some locations of where it could be, but these are all red herrings. Question him a bit further, and he says he had some coffee this morning, and boom, there it is in the coffee shop. It's extremely short, especially on replays, but I think it's a decently fun little mystery on your first playthrough. Looking for clues is Mission 4 in EPF DS, and while the general gameplay is pretty bare bones, this is where the story actually gets pretty interesting. We learn that Gary the Gadget Guy has gone missing and begin investigating to find out what happened. Unfortunately, it's rather easy to accidentally skip a good chunk of this mission because all of the clues around the island are designed to point you to look at the ski hill to get this key. But there's nothing stopping you from just going straight up there after getting the mechano duster from the gadget room, which ultimately makes this mission very short. But I guess this mission gets a few bonus points because it's the first time we hear. And we're back to side missions. Leaning Order of Pizza has you play the part of a pizza delivery penguin, giving pizza to 4 different customers across the island. It's still pretty simple, but it's also a very natural problem to arise on Club Penguin. I don't know, I just think it adds a lot to the world building. It's still pretty boring though. It's also got this guy that's like really obsessed with clouds. You can't just say the word cloudorific to me, man. Just take your pizza, you cumulus freak. Alien Conspiracy is a side mission where this guy finds a bunch of secret codes around the island and asks you to decode them. The codes mention something about an incoming alien invasion, but it turns out the guy is just screwing with you and he wrote the codes himself. It's kinda funny the first time you play it, but since all you're doing in this mission is deciphering, there's not much to it on replays. Cause and Effect is a weird side mission. It starts with you finding a scarf on the ground and searching for who it belongs to. Along the way, you solve 3 completely unrelated problems, and once you finish the last one, the scarf's owner arrives and says that they only found you because everyone else was talking about how helpful you were. Sure, I guess that works. This is a mission where the game doesn't really point you in any direction, you kinda just have to explore and see what you find, which I do like, but here it just kind of feels incohesive. It's a pretty decent length for a side mission though, so I do think it's one of the better ones. As you may know, the big plot of EPF DS is all about the test bots, and Robotomy 101 is the first mission where you actually encounter one of them. As cool as that sounds, actually playing this mission sadly kinda sucks. You have to use the elite Puffles, but there's not really a good indication of what the right one to use is. Like, after you hit Wheelbot with a snowball with Bouncer, it flees to the roof and starts moving around. You're taught earlier in the game that Loop is skilled at tying things up that move fast, so surely you— No, you just use Bouncer again. But now it's flailing its arms around really fast, so now must be the time where you use Flare for some reason to weld its joints? Okay. Then you deactivate it and you're pretty much done, so it didn't even take that long. This mission should be a lot more exciting, but ultimately I just kind of feel nothing from it. You guys remember Flare, right? You know, the guy I just mentioned. And also the only elite Puffle you could actually walk with online. Weld, he made his debut in EPF Mission 5, All's Weld That Ends Weld. As cool as Flare is, this mission really isn't. The bulk of it is just getting a few signatures on a card to cheer up Flare so he can help you fix a key. It's cute, but that's really all there is to it. Once you do fix the key, you can finally go into Gary's room and see that he apparently went to the mines before he went missing. And then the mission just kinda ends abruptly. You don't even report what your findings were. I get the point here is that you're taking matters into your own hands to investigate on your own, but it still feels way too abrupt. As much as I do love EPF DS, it's starting to get really apparent just how simple most of its missions are, and how a lot of them kinda just end with little to no fanfare. Or should I say fanflare, because it's the Flare mission. No, you're right, I shouldn't say it, sorry. Case of the Missing Puffles. Wait, no, not yet. Hide and Seek is an EPF side mission where you have to find 7 missing Puffles. This is a relatively simple mission as they're just sitting out in the open waiting to be found, but there are 7 of them, so it's actually decently long for side mission standards. They don't tell you where they are either, so you have to actually explore on your own to find them. And since the Puffles aren't really hiding at all, I think it's a decently fun and fair exploration mission. This one gets bonus points though for being the only mission in the entire series that requires you to go to the book room and the dance lounge. After you complete Leaning Order of Pizza, you unlock its sequel side mission, The Wrong Orders. Like before, you're tasked with delivering pizza to 4 penguins, but this time their orders have been all mixed up, so you have to actually go get the wrong pizza from them first, adding just a bit more complexity. Of course, it's still nothing too exciting, but I do consider it to be the best side mission in the game. Okay, I know I just said the wrong orders was the best side mission, but there's technically 2 more for us to talk about. The first one being the winter seasonal mission, where you have to help Santa deliver presents. This is the only time in the entire Club Penguin franchise that Santa Claus is actually seen, assuming this is the real guy in their universe and not just someone in a costume. Santa was later shot dead by the Merry Walrus in 2014. In terms of gameplay, the mission is pretty much identical to something like Leaning Order of Pizza, but it's Christmas! I can't not feel all holly and jolly inside when I play this mission. It's just nice. Speaking of the seasons, it's time to talk about our final seasonal mission and our final side mission, which of course means that I think that this is truly the best one. The fall seasonal mission takes the cake and or pumpkin pie for me, as I simply just find it to be the most unique. Instead of going around the island helping someone with a side quest, all you're doing is solving a riddle to determine which character in costume is who. They'll tell you clues like, this penguin is wearing this penguin is not wearing that, this penguin is bisexual, this penguin was there on January 6th. It's not complicated by any means, but I think it's a fun little brain teaser and is by far the most unique puzzle in the entire game. Now that we've gone through all the side missions, from here on out, it's nothing but the big boys, the real deals, the cream of the crop, and the top of the top. Just kidding, a lot of these are still pretty mid. But at least we're finally talking about a mission that's not from EPF DS. Indeed, the first PSA mission on the list, and unfortunately the worst PSA mission on the list, is also the first PSA mission ever. That, of course, being Case of the Missing Puffles. I will say, speedrunning has definitely made me dislike this one a lot more than I used to. The amount of socks Gary has is random each time, but I can read tic-tac-toe code pretty quickly, so it's not too bad. The iceberg minigame is absolutely dreadful though, as the wind is constantly changing and you kinda just have to pray that you don't mess it up. This wouldn't be too bad on its own, but the fact that it's the first mission, meaning you have to get over this hurdle every time you reset your run, is incredibly frustrating. It's so easy to get caught in a loop of just resetting on this mission over and over again, which has easily made it my least favorite PSA mission. Casually though, I think it's fine, but still probably the weakest. I do love how this is essentially just Antarctic testing you from the very beginning. It's an iconic first mission, and we wouldn't be here without it, but man, we sure have come a long way. Uh-oh, 2 PSA missions back to back, and this one is Mysterious Tremors. I'll be honest, I never really liked this one. The fact that you can fix the gift shop 2 different ways, either from above with balloons or below with cream soda, is kinda cool, but it mainly just confused me as a kid because of how many items there were. But the real reason this mission is so low is again because of speedrunning. See, normally you're supposed to chase after 2 halves of this map so you can follow Herbert through the underground tunnels he made with his drill. But that takes way too long, so we're just gonna go through the dark tunnels without the map. The problem is the layout is completely random, so you essentially have to win a coin toss 6 times in a row. It's also optimal to not grab the lantern, so you're doing all of this in complete darkness. Even if you mess up a few times, mapless is still faster than the normal route, but it's very easy to lose time. On top of that, the boiler puzzle immediately after that is also RNG. This mission is so late into the run and can be such a run killer. Really unfortunate too, because story-wise, I think this mission is great. The scene with Herbert and his drill is iconic, and this is the point in the missions where he starts to become an actual threat. It's not a bad mission, and I get why people like it, but I don't. Back to EPF DS, the Mystery Unfolds is the first main mission in the game and is somehow less tutorial-y than Mission 2. It's basically just Dot messing with you the whole time as a test to see if you're EPF material, and that's exactly why I love it. Look, I know mechanically there's not a whole lot going on here, like Case of the Missing Puffles and even some side missions are more involved than this one, but you have to understand, this mission is the debut of the greatest character in all of fiction, and seeing her pop out of that barrel for the first time permanently altered my brain chemistry. I love my wife! It's just an extremely memorable mission for me, and frankly, you should be impressed that I had the restraint to put it this low. Skipping ahead a bit to Mission 9 of EPF DS, Super Secret Gadgets has you helping Gary test out the Snow Trekker, and oh boy do you test it out, as the bulk of this mission is just playing the Snow Trekker minigame. Twice. This minigame is fine, it's just not very fun to control, and I get kinda sick of it by the second time. Otherwise, it's still a decently fun mission, and I love the Snow Trekker conceptually, especially since it's a callback to Experimental Penguins, Club Penguin's earliest form. The real great part of this mission though is when you find the Robo-Locator, which causes Gary to finally get his memory back to tell you all about the test bots and how he almost died. Does anyone else feel like Avalanche Rescue is easily the most forgettable PSA mission? Like, it's not bad, it's just kinda nothing. Really, all you do is construct this life preserver fishing rod contraption, do a quick little puzzle to rescue 4 penguins, and that's kinda it. Speedrunning has honestly made me like this mission more because the part I always hated about it was taking the telescope to Gary's office and memorizing the slope patterns. But you can just skip that altogether because although the order is different each time, the correct path in each area is always the same. Also, pantsing this mannequin is funny. Damage control always feels longer to me than it actually is. Really all it is just 3 connect-the-dot puzzles and a game of ice fishing. But also, it has ice fishing, so who cares, it's fun. And connect-the-dots is fun too, I love dots. Speaking of, she's in this mission along with Rookie and Jetpack Guy, and I always just love seeing them work together. As for the plot, you're just investigating damage caused by the test bots and recovering blueprints from Gary's notebook. Nothing too crazy yet, but it's definitely hinting at things to come. It's really cool to me how Rookie went from just being a simple mission NPC to one of the most popular characters in the series. But then again, when he's animated with this much personality in his original debut, it's kinda no surprise. That debut is Case of the Missing Coins, if you couldn't tell. And I'm talking about Rookie so much because he is by far the best part of this mission. Not to say that the rest of it is bad. I think it's cool how you can play a completely pointless minigame when looking at the computer files. The general plot of coins going missing by being pulled to the ceiling by a giant magnet is really funny, and this is technically the first mission to involve Herbert, so that's cool. But I don't know, it's still a little underwhelming compared to most later missions. Easily the best of its time though. You can tell this is where they started to take the missions more seriously. But also, I hate this boiler room puzzle. Thank God it's optional. After finding that Gary went to the mines in All's Well That Ends Well, the do-it-yourself karting has you going to the mine to try to find him. You start by first making your own minecart using parts from the mine shed, seen only in this mission and nowhere else in the franchise. Then you play some Kart Surfer, aka the best minigame, and then finally find and rescue Gary. All in all, it's still pretty short, and I kinda wish it was combined with All's Well That Ends Well to make it feel more cohesive, but this mission is where the plot really starts to progress, and I like everything you do in it, so yeah, not bad. Hey, remember when Antarctic said there would be download missions? Well, there was! One! And it's actually pretty good. The Puffle Pranksters has all of the elite Puffles go missing, and you gotta find them. On paper, this seems like a rehash of hide and seek, but this time you find that all of the Puffles are white. They've all covered themselves in powder, and you gotta look for clues to guess who's who to clean them off. Once you find them all, you find another white Puffle, but this one is actually a real white Puffle, and it turns out that this whole thing was the elite Puffles trying to recruit a new member to the team. I think it's really cute. White Puffles were discovered after this game initially came out, so seeing one being added to it is really cool. It's a perfect way to utilize a downloadable mission, and while it's a bummer this was the only one we ever got, it's clear that they were building up to something bigger. Your first true mission after being properly recruited into the EPF is Rookie on the Rocks. Rookie went missing on a field mission, and you gotta find him. First, you gotta get this sick penguin their soup. They look so cozy, man. I love this guy. And then you gotta win a snowboarding competition for them so you can borrow their board. This minigame is fine. I just think it gets repetitive fast and goes on for way too long. And you have to do it twice in this mission, though you can just wipe out instantly the second time if you just want to progress. Anyway, you snowboard your way down to the wilderness to find Rookie, and Jetpack Guy even shows up to help you rescue him. There's also this running bit of Dot being on patrol to catch a snowman thief, which is so dumb, but it makes me laugh every time for some reason. It's a pretty good mission, and I love the parallels to PSA Mission 3 with Rookie being here, as well as finding our first clues to the antagonists. And with JPG showing up to rescue someone from the wilderness, you could also say it parallels PSA Mission 2. Speaking of... Whoa, it's PSA Mission 2, G's secret mission. Who could have seen that coming? Admittedly, this mission is kinda boring. You test Gary's sled, you crash, you survive in the wilderness for a bit, and you get rescued. There's nothing to do with Herbert, you're not being trained for anything, it's just simple survival. From a purely casual standpoint, this mission would rank much lower, but this is by far my favorite mission to speedrun. Since you're by yourself, there's not a lot of dialogue to mash through, and you can even skip some cutscenes by quickly opening and closing the survival guide. This is legitimately like one of the only examples of actual tech being used in this speedrun. There's just not a lot of waiting around in this one, it's mostly just constant movement and item management, and I love it, it's so sick. Double Trouble starts with a bubble. This is funny to me. This mission involves you training with Loop and Pop, the pink and purple elite Puffles. Or at least it would, but those two are slacking off, so you gotta go round them up. Loop is pretty easy to get back to work, but Pop is dancing at a party at the nightclub, which requires fancy clothes to enter. Classist pricks. In order to convince Pop to work with you, you have to face off in Dance Challenge, which is easily my least favorite minigame. Thankfully, it's not too bad in this mission, and once you beat it, you hear a crash downstairs and find that the boiler has been stolen? This mission was already pretty good, but the sudden tone shift at the end really makes it stand out to me. You were just doing your training, but you accidentally stumbled into something much bigger going on. We're really getting to the good stuff now. Finally, a robot mission that's actually good! Unlike Robotomy 101, Robots on the Run has you chasing down 2 robots. There's still a little bit of guessing involved with deciding which elite Puffle is the right one to use, but I feel like the hints are conveyed much better to you here. My favorite one being that a few missions ago, you use Chirp on the tallest mountain and her flute short-circuits a nearby jetpack, and you're blatantly told that that's something that happens with her. In this mission, Jetbot is hovering in the exact same spot as the jetpack, and you have to use Chirp to short-circuit it, too. Speaking of jetpacks, you also play Jetpack Adventure in this mission, and it's even more fun in this version because you can just damage boost through the obstacles and speed right through the level. Deactivating the test bots just feels way more satisfying here than before, and it's a way more engaging mission too. Robots on the Run is way more fun than Robotomy 101. Okay, I'm done. Questions for a Crab is great because you can just do this and skip the entire mission. Okay, no, let's actually talk about it. Yeah, it's pretty good. There are some good puzzles here, like using the Puffle to enter the cave, using the Puffle to lift the cage, using the Puffle to exit the cave after escaping from the cage. But the real reason this mission is so high is because it's our first true encounter with Herbert P. Bear. And oh man, does he make a good first impression. So what if he trapped me in a cage, trauma dumped on me, and then threatened to destroy my home? I have low standards, buddy. That's a good first impression in my book. Herbert's backstory is really interesting too. All he wants to do is find someplace warm to live, but he tipped over on his iceberg and whoopsie, I skipped it. I had originally ranked Operation Spy and Seek a bit lower since half the mission is just cutscenes. 2 really good cutscenes, don't get me wrong, but as a speedrunner, it just meant that half the time, I was doing nothing. But then I realized that's kind of a good thing. Yes, the most engaging parts of a speedrun are the most fun parts to play, but downtime is also really important. And coming right after a mission as stressful as Mysterious Tremors, it's nice to have a bit of time to relax and just watch Herbert dance. The first half of this mission is also one of the most involved parts of the run, with lots of great puzzles and not a lot of downtime, which makes the downtime you do get in the second half feel even more rewarding. And casually, this mission's just as great. The puzzles are still fun, it's got funny dialogue, and I love the Find 4 side quest. Honestly, my only problem with this mission is that the plot isn't too good or memorable. All you're doing is trying to track down Herbert, and as soon as you do, he breaks your camera, putting you back at square one. But otherwise, this mission is fantastic, and it's just barely left out of the top 10. This was my favorite mission in EPF DS for a while, but I think I'm overselling it just a bit. Make no mistake though, flying high-pitched is still very good. After the events of Double Trouble, the director orders you to finish your elite Puffle training at once, so you can focus on the big stuff. Sure, that means this mission is just training and has no relation to the actual plot, but I kinda like that about it actually. It's a nice calm before the storm. Anyway, here are some things that I like about this mission. It has Jetpack Guy. You play Jetpack Adventure. You train with Flit and Chirp, my 2 favorite elite Puffles. PH is yodeling in this mission, and I think that's funny. Flit is Sonic the Hedgehog. Chirp is OP. PH gives you her hat. What a narcissist! No, it's actually a really cute gesture. And finally, you get to apply what you've learned with all of the elite Puffle skills in the final test of your training. This puzzle utilizes every elite Puffle, and while it's pretty obvious what you need to do, the game doesn't give you many hints, and you have to rely on your own intuition to figure it out. I'd go as far as saying that the final test is the best puzzle in the entire series, and it makes this mission super satisfying to complete. You may have noticed that something's been missing. Of the 35 missions we've talked about so far, absolutely none of them have been from Herbert's Revenge. If you're unaware, over half of the missions in that game are just recycled from the PSA. There are only 4 original missions in Herbert's Revenge, and the reason none of them have appeared so far is because they're all really fucking good. But as peak as they are, one of them has to be the least peak of the 4, and in my opinion, that not-so-flattering award goes to the not-so-ultimate mission. Yeah, I hate to say it, but the final mission of Herbert's Revenge is sadly kind of a stinker. But only kind of. Herbert's plans go too far and he creates a giant geyser, which causes the entire island of Club Penguin to start sinking. To remedy this, you need to both pull the island up and push the island down, which are pretty much your 2 main tasks for this mission. To pull the island up, you have to play a game of Aqua Rescue, which is the worst minigame in Herbert's Revenge. All you do is launch life preservers at stalactites for like 2 whole minutes, and it's so boring. And to push the island down, you have to do this puzzle where you disguise as as mascots to get penguins to follow you and rebalance the island. I did not understand this puzzle as a kid, and no one I've spoken to about it did either. Sure, I get it now, and it's kinda creative, but as a puzzle for the final mission? Absolutely not. So, if the majority of this mission's gameplay is straight up not fun to play, then why is it ranked this high? This is my favorite story in all of Club Penguin. Herbert accidentally doing something way more dangerous than he intended and reluctantly cooperating with the EPF is not only super interesting, but also probably the most character development we'd ever seen in Club Penguin at this point. And honestly, probably ever, because he regresses again during Operation Blackout. Yeah, I'll say it, Blackout isn't as peak as everyone says it is. And I think Herbert is mischaracterized in it, but I don't think this fandom is ready for that conversation. Anyway, there's still a lot I love about the Ultimate Mission. The stakes, the presentation, the music, the fact that Herbert lets you use Klutzy as an honorary elite Puffle, this is cinema. But my absolute favorite thing is that you have the dialogue option to claim to Herbert that you were the penguin who foiled all of his schemes in the past. And as a kid who did exactly that growing up playing every PSA mission, it is so satisfying to claim just that. The gameplay of this mission may not be ultimate, but everything else certainly is. Okay, let's get back to the PSA. Waddle Squad is the penultimate PSA mission and released only about a month after EPF DS. This is relevant because this is the first time we saw the director in the online game. I didn't get EPF DS until 2009, so this moment was kind of a big deal for me. Anyway, this mission is all about capturing Herbert once and for all, and luring him into the nightclub using a golden Puffle as bait. It's honestly pretty short, all things considered. All you gotta do is help Rookie and Jetpack Guy by doing some pretty fun puzzles and then set up the trap for Herbert. It's especially satisfying to do this cream soda puzzle in the speedrun. But nothing is as satisfying as the end of this mission. When you pull the lever to trap Herbert, then he escapes with ease. Gary says, "Calling all besties, kill that guy!" Then Rookie breaks through the wall with a giant magnet and you use JPG's jetpack, or the solar panel if you're a loser, to bring the cage closer to the magnet, finally trapping Herbert and placing him under arrest. Until he asks to make his one phone call, and Rookie gives him his spy phone. You know, the one capable of teleportation. So yeah, maybe the end of this mission isn't all that satisfying, as you essentially did all of that for nothing, but I don't care. The presentation was so cool, way more exciting than Spy and Seek. Rookie and JPG being here is always a fun time, and this was the biggest cliffhanger of my early childhood. The mission itself may not be the most engaging, but it would be a bigger crime than Golden Puffle theft to not put Waddle Squad in the top 10. Can you believe it, guys? A second Herbert's Revenge mission! Herbert's plan is the penultimate mission of that game and leads directly into the ultimate mission. So what makes it better? It doesn't have Aqua Rescue, but it does have the Heads Up 3000, which lets you command Dot, Rookie, and Jetpack Guy to investigate certain areas on the island. And in order for their investigations to succeed, you have to win a quick WarioWare microgame. Dot and JPG's microgames are fine, but Rookie's is complete RNG as he gets distracted half of the time, resulting in a failure out of your control. Listen, I love my probably canonical ADHD warrior, but this is really frustrating game design. I can't lie, it's pretty funny though. And this is the only bad part of the mission, as the rest of it is absolute peak. Literally, Herbert captures the greatest trio ever and then brings them to the tallest mountain, and from there it's an upward climb to rescue your fellow agents and elite Puffles. By the way, there are 3 other minigames in Herbert's Revenge aside from Aqua Rescue: Grapple Gadget, Jackhammer, and Amazing Maze. I think they're all really good, and you play all 3 of them in this mission. It kinda makes it feel a bit bloated, but I'm having fun, so I don't care that much. Aside from the Heads Up 3000, this mission is incredible, and arguably has some of the best gameplay in the series. Speaking of incredible gameplay, Clockwork Repairs is extremely underrated in my opinion. Herbert stole 3 parts from the clock tower, and it's up to you to get those MacGuffins back. Getting the target back is the easiest, but also not. You have to play this snowball minigame, and it's not bad, but I'm just pretty inconsistent at it, so it's the only thing I don't like in this mission. Getting the spring and the gear, though, are a bit more convoluted, involving tic-tac-toe code, filling a bucket with the right kind of snow, because there is a wrong kind, playing piano for a Puffle, and freezing and unfreezing via the test chamber. Gameplay-wise, I think this is one of, if not the most engaging PSA mission. I know I keep using the word satisfying in this video, but like, I don't know what else to say, man. Clockwork Repairs is just super satisfying and fun to play. It's a bit lacking in story, but it's not lacking in Rory. I like Rory. The mission I'm about to talk about has a genuinely big flaw in it, and for that reason, I could never in good faith say that it was the best mission in EPF DS. But actually sitting down to think about it, yeah, I can't deny it anymore. The best mission in EPF DS is its final one. An agent's work is never done. After deactivating the test bots in the previous two missions, the EPF throws a surprise party for you, complete with fake-out credits for the game that gets interrupted with a loud crash. You go back to HQ to discover that both Gary and all of the elite Puffles are missing, and there's a giant hole in the gadget room. So you take the snow trekker out to follow some minecart tracks to a cave, where you find the ultimate Protobot 10,000, a giant robot built by the test bots before they were shut down. All Protobot wants to do is make himself more powerful, and he starts wreaking havoc around the island to search for upgrades. You chase him all the way up to the tallest mountain, rescuing Gary and the elite Puffles along the way, and only then can you finally deactivate him once and for all. It's awesome, and it was built up to excellently throughout the entire game. So what's wrong with it? Well, similar to the final mission in its sequel, the gameplay here is kinda not great. Since you rescue each elite Puffle one at a time, there is nothing to figure out on your own. This mission boils down to rescuing a Puffle, following Protobot, and using the Puffle you just rescued on Protobot to rescue another Puffle. It's just kind of mindless and feels more like a victory lap rather than an actually challenging final mission. That has been my problem with this mission for years and why I have refused to call it the best mission in the game. But like, come on. The presentation is so good that I don't care if the gameplay is boring. I'm still having fun playing it despite my complaining. No other mission in EPF DS even comes close to giving me the same amount of excitement as this one, and it's mostly thanks to Protobot. He was scary as a kid, and the jarring 3D model only adds to how terrifying he looks. It's a great debut for a great villain, and I love how he gets increasingly more powerful, smart, and evil in each of his future appearances. I would have liked a bit more difficulty, but this is a kid's game, it's not hard to begin with. An Agent's Work Is Never Done is the greatest mission in EPF DS and one of the greatest missions in all of Club Penguin. After doing 6 recycled PSA missions in Herbert's Revenge, you finally get to start the game's proper story arc, and it starts with Suspect at Large. This mission has you disguise as Klutzy to find, infiltrate, and snoop around Herbert's base. You don't get to be much more of a spy than in this mission right here. You travel to both of Herbert's old hideouts from the PSA missions to find clues for his new one, located underground in the wilderness. It's really cool to see the world be expanded like this, and Herbert's new base is massive. You can tell they had a lot of fun designing this. As you're snooping around, you run into Klutzy, and have to copy his movements to gaslight him into thinking he's just seeing his reflection. Then you run into Herbert himself, but your disguise fools him into thinking you're Klutzy. Herbert can canonically understand Klutzy's clicks, so you have a bunch of dialogue options to click at Herbert, and this is my favorite part of the mission. Everything he says in response to you is just so stupid, I love it. Did you just call me Jim Bob? Herbert eventually catches on that you're snooping as usual, so he locks the base down, and you gotta make your grand escape. Grapple Gadget is a really fun 2D platforming minigame, and I love how in this mission your grappling hook is a crab claw. The plot may not be as intense as An Agent's Work Is Never Done, but disguising as Klutzy is one of the most memorable things in any mission. The gameplay is extremely good too, and yeah, I don't know what else to say, I've just always really loved this one. We've made it to the top 3, the bronze, silver, and cheese. It has more value to me than gold. Honestly, all 3 of these are kind of interchangeable to me, but I'm confident in saying that these are the 3 best missions in the series. And taking the bronze today is none other than Secret of the Fur. Missions 3 and 4 had you find some suspicious white tufts of fur, and this mission is all about figuring out the source. As you go around the island to investigate, you find a lot of penguins in distress about seeing a monster of some kind. It's an unsettling tone shift for Club Penguin, which had been nothing but cutesy and goofy up to this point. I've told this story before, but seeing Herbert's shadow outside the ski lodge genuinely terrified me as a kid. I closed my browser tab when I first saw it because I was that scared. The creepy music that plays didn't help much either, and I had to mute the game audio before I felt strong enough to finish the mission. For that reason, Secret of the Fur is by far the most memorable mission. The gameplay is also really good. There's no outstanding puzzle or minigame or anything, but there's nothing annoying either. And this mission is really fun to speedrun too. Definitely my second favorite in the run behind G's Secret Mission. It's just all around really good, really fun, and extremely memorable. Just 2 missions left, and if you're as insane as me, you've probably deduced exactly what they are. And if that's the case, then you'll also know what number 1 is as soon as I say what number 2 is. Or maybe you're normal and not obsessed with point-and-click adventures for children. Either way, I am honored to declare that the second best mission of all time is the Veggie Villain. It took a year and a half after Waddle Squad to wait for this mission to come out, and it was worth every second. At first, it just seems like Herbert's got another weird scheme, this time involving corn of all things, but it quickly becomes apparent that this is his most sinister plot yet. He planted an entire corn maze, I mean, who even has time for that, just so he can hide in it while broadcasting an expose on the PSA to the public. Of course, finding him in the maze is no sweat for a skilled agent like you, but that's exactly what he was counting on. Once you arrive, he teleports you and a souped-up popcorn popper back to HQ, locking you and everyone inside to be part of a giant explosion of popcorn with no way out. But, if you happen to play a certain Nintendo DS game that came out before this mission, you know that this HQ has one more secret room. And after solving a really fun secret access puzzle to unlock it, you see Dot, making her debut in the online game after previously only appearing on the DS. This was the most rewarding feeling ever after having played both every PSA mission and EPF DS. And this moment is exactly why Dot is my favorite Club Penguin character ever. Among other reasons, you know, not like I've talked about it before. Dot teleports you all to safety, and the sport shop is no more, much like the PSA. This mission's so good, man. Between Dot appearing, the PSA being destroyed, the EPF taking over, and Herbert still being at large, this was an insane ending to the PSA missions. And all my child brain could think about after playing it for the first time was, what the heck is gonna happen next? Well, here we are. There's only one mission left to talk about. Have you figured out what it is yet? Honestly, you may have forgotten about this one. I never see anyone talk about it much, but personally, I've always loved this one, and after replaying every mission for this video, that still holds true. My favorite Club Penguin mission of all time is the Elite Penguin Force. No, seriously, that's just what the mission is called. Yes, indeed. In my opinion, the best mission in the series is the very first mission in Herbert's Revenge. If you think I'm crazy for this one, that's fair, but hear me out. Coincidentally, this mission is right after Veggie Villain in the timeline, and you get a bit of a recap of that mission at the start of this one. After the command room was rebuilt, the EPF decides to form a special team solely to take down Herbert. But first, the team needs to do a bit of training to not only make sure they're in tip-top shape, but also to select a single team leader for the job. That's right, this is just a tutorial mission to either teach or reteach the game's mechanics to you. There's no stakes, no involvement from Herbert at all, it's just you training with the rest of your team. And yet, it still manages to be so good. This is how you do a tutorial in a sequel. It still offers the tutorial for those that need it, but it also respects that you've probably played the first game and know what you're doing. And that's reflected through your dialogue options too. The absolute best thing about this mission though is the dynamic between your team members. And of course, that team consists of Dot, Rookie, and Jetpack Guy. I love this trio so immensely much, and Herbert's Revenge is the reason why. Their dynamic throughout the entire game, or at least the 4 new missions, is so good, and it's at its absolute best in this very first mission. JPG cruising through every challenge with his jetpack, Dot using her disguises to get through them while also still acting as Little Miss Tutorial like she was in the first game, and Rookie being Rookie, it's perfect. Eventually, you stop competing with each other and cooperate to progress in this really cool puzzle where you combine everyone's items to bend the bars of this gate. This is cooler than like every other puzzle in the game. And then, the final puzzle is the ultimate symbol of friendship and trust, with everyone working together to get over this giant wall. You're able to get the 3 of them over, but you get left behind. But it's your willingness to do just that for your team that earns you the role of team leader. It just makes you feel cool, man, and it's a feeling I don't get in any other mission. Look, generally, I think the PSA missions have much better gameplay than the DS games, and are the ones I've replayed the most. But this mission, man, something about it just makes me have a smile on my face from start to finish every time I play it. It is the perfect start to a not-so-perfect sequel. Yeah, although I love the original missions in Herbert's Revenge, my opinions on this game as a whole are a bit more complicated, but I'll chase that goose another day. Still, nothing can take away how exciting this mission was for me when I played it for the first time, and the excitement I still get when I replay it today. My favorite thing in all of Club Penguin has always been the Elite Penguin Force, and looking at the title of this mission, I'd say it's true in 2 different ways. So there you have it, every Club Penguin Secret Agent mission ranked. Do you agree with me? If you don't, I've probably played these missions more times already than you ever will in your lifetime, so your opinion is just as valid as mine, hee. Nah, but seriously, what's your favorite mission? Is it the same as mine? Probably not. That's why I want to know what yours is, so tell me. Or don't. Withhold that information from me, starve me of knowledge, kick me to the curb, why don't you? Anyway, I've done what I needed to do, so...
You gotta check out the enclosed instruction book.
Instruction booklet.